the short Cliff Notes version of them is, I've kind of started thinking of them as an alternative to rowing.
What it can't do is get your dinghy on the plane. If you're going to do that, if you're going to want to do that, you are going to need a petrol outboard.
A couple of years ago, I came to this exact spot to give my honest opinion on the Spirit 1.0 electric motor outboard. And since then, I've become older, a little bit wiser, I hope, and I've changed my mind on a couple of things. So, yeah, let's talk about that. This is Starry Night, a courageous, plucky sailboat who has only one dream: to sail around the world and have lots of adventures. No, not like that. It's around the world, not through it. But not everything was going to plan. Starry Night was abandoned on the heart for 12 full years. But one day, he found us. My name is Paulo, and this is Katerina. And these are our two very overactive kids. After a crazy amount of work, Starry Night is once again ready to sail the oceans. So sit back, relax, and join us in this adventure. And we will all find out together where Starry Night will end up next. Most reviews on electric outboards are normally super positive. And you won't find that here. It wasn't super positive the last time I did it, although I still looked at the electric option as being okay for what we do. But since then, I've joined the likes of Matt's, and I actually consider it to be an alternative to rowing, not actually an alternative to an outboard motor or engine, because it just isn't. At the time, for context, we were just cruising short distances and mostly in known places, and it was possible to use the electric outboard to do everything that we needed to do. We just had to wait for the tide and not go out if it's like bad weather or very windy, because the electric motor just didn't have the range or the power to get us where we wanted to go at any time. You had to be careful with it. And as we started cruising longer distances and finding places where you sometimes need to do like 3, 4, 5 miles on your dinghy, it became painfully obvious that the electric, the ePropulsion it just can't do it. I think the time what happened that really made us change our mind was this one time we went for dinner and we calculated the tides, and it was good. We had tide going out to go to the restaurant. It was about 1.5 miles, and then the tide would turn, and we're coming back to the boat with the tide, so everything was good. Now, what we didn't count on was that as the night fell, after dinner, a 20-knot breeze developed, and it was against us, and it was wind against the tide. And as we all know, wind against the tide makes huge chop, and it's very uncomfortable. It was almost impossible to get to our boat that was on anchorage with the propulsion. The kids were a little bit scared because we didn't have the power to overcome the waves, and we managed in the end, but it took way longer than it should have, and it truly wasn't a safe situation to be in. So right there and then, I turned to my wife and I said, look, I like this electric stuff, but we need to get something better because this is crazy. And she immediately said, yes, this doesn't work all the time. And that's the thing. It works 95% of the time. It's fine. If you just want to go to the beach and then come back, if you have a short distance to run, if you don't have current, it works fine. It's that 5% of the time when it just doesn't work that makes you look for another option, because that is just not an option. So what did we get, and what are our plans regarding the outboard for the dinghy. So this is what we went with. It's a bog standard non-EFI Honda 20 horsepower. Very simple, very reliable. Don't know if it's the best, but it sure is reliable. And it's a complete game changer. It changes the way that we interact with the world around us, because you have so much more range and you're so much faster and safer that, yeah, like I said, makes a big difference. The biggest issue with the electric motor, in this case the ePropulsion, is that it cannot plane. You just cannot get up on a plane. It's not even the range, because you can do like 15 miles with the electric propulsion, but you can't plane with this one. And the ones that allow you to plane, they are not even in the same budget. They are super expensive solutions and require a huge amount of batteries. The dinghies become super heavy. So yeah, and not being able to plane changes everything. Or should I say it the other way around? Being able to plane changes everything. We are currently, our mothership is Starry Night, is anchored 2 point something miles from here, nautical miles. And it would have taken us 45 minutes to get here with the propulsion. With the engine that we have now, it took us 7 minutes. That's how different it is. When we are planing, we can get up to 19 knots. And doing just displacement, three knots is the speed where you can keep it at about 300 watts, 400 watts. If you want to go any faster, like 3.5 or 4 knots, you need to use the whole 1000 watts, and then you only have 1 hour of battery left. So that is the biggest issue we find with using the ePropulsion motor. Does that mean that electric propulsion on dinghies is a bad idea? No, far from it. Although we did sell our ePropulsion 1.0. But here's why. I believe that we should have both. We should have a normal gas-powered engine, and I wish they made a diesel. That would be amazing. Because the thing is, I hate having to have gasoline aboard. I really didn't want to have another fuel, especially gasoline aboard. But the downsides are so big that weighing the pros and cons, it's just better to deal with the gasoline and that's it. But going back to what I was saying, I believe that the best solution is to have both. And having both, you can have an electric motor just for the small stuff, just to go to the beach and come back, or, you know, and then when you want to go further, or when the weather is not really nice, then you can use the gasoline powered engine. But for that, I don't really need an ePropulsion 1.0. Actually, the eLite 500, it's more than enough for what I wanted to do, and it's lighter, and it doesn't have like the whole separate battery, and I think it's fine because using the ePropulsion, we never went above like 300 to 400 watts. So the eLite does 500 watts, so that's enough. Being that it isn't our only option, that we have the gas engine as well. So yeah. Going forward, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to get us a smaller electric outboard motor, probably the eLite from ePropulsion, because there was nothing wrong with our unit. It was working fine. It was just slow as hell. And yeah, that's it. Listen, if you have any questions, just put them down in the comments, and I'll try to answer it as best as I can. I know this video is gonna make a bunch of you really, really mad, but yeah, when you start seeing people that are actually on the water and you start hearing what they have to say, be that Mads, they got a gas-powered outboard because the propulsion was not good enough. Be it Fair Isle, they got one as well. We did, and everyone that you talk with that isn't actually sponsored by ePropulsion will tell you, yeah, these are fine for 95% of the time, but that you just cannot cruise with only the ePropulsion. You can, but it's a hassle. You will be putting yourself in a little bit of a dangerous situation. But yeah, that's it. Nice to talk to you guys. See you next time.